'Tis the season to listen to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Auntie Joan and Auntie, providing our zesty and marginally mature take on pop culture, current events, and trends. Now we invite you to sit on Santa's lap, relax, and enjoy. Hello, Auntie Joan!
Hi, Auntie.
Merry Christmas!
Fröhliche Weihnacht.
Oh, Feliz Navidad!
That's all I know.
That's all I got.
We're bilingual.
We are bilingual. And speaking of your amazing German,
Yes.
I just got back from Nuremberg because I met up with Auntie Bethy and her lovely sister, and we went to the Nuremberg Christmas markets.
Oh my goodness.
And it
Well,
was,
of course I knew that.
You
Yeah.
knew because you had Beastie Boys.
Yes, I did.
It was a lot of fun. Very, very pretty. Auntie Bethy and I had gone to Vienna Christmas markets last year. And it was different because Vienna has like 12 different Christmas markets, one really ginormous one, and then several smaller ones of varying sizes. Some are teeny weeny, some are decent size, but they're kind of throughout the city. And then Nuremberg just has the one big one really in their square. They have some little peripheral ones, but they're very, very small. They have like a kid-centric one has more rides and stuff in it.
Oh.
They had an international market, but it was really mostly foods. But each booth represented a different country. And
Did you see any Polish stuff there?
There was. I mean, if we were hungry, it might have been better for us. And they did have a couple of wares to sell, goods of some kind at the booths, but not a lot. Mostly it was whatever food they were peddling. But that was cool to see. But Nuremberg's just such a nice little city. And we stayed right in Old Town, our hotel was right at the start of the pedestrian area. So we had a great location. We could just walk to the market. It was a 10-minute walk. And
nice.
Very, very close. Very nice. We had decent weather, I have to say. We did see just a smidge of snow, but that's when we were on the train to, where were we going that day? Bamberg. But it was very brief. By the time we got off the train, it had already stopped. There was nothing. We had a little bit of rain in Nuremberg, but not anything that I was like, ugh, it rained in Nuremberg. It was just like, we had a little rain. It was no big deal.
Is Nuremberg a small city?
We stayed in Old Town primarily, so that I thought was quaint and on the smaller side. But when we drove in from the airport, it definitely has more city aspects to it. We just didn't explore that. We kind of stayed in Old Town. Although I did branch out and go to one vegan restaurant I went to and I couldn't get in because I didn't make a reservation. There was a big party that came in and there was a bit of a language barrier because I kept saying, can I just wait? And I don't think she understood what I was saying. So I didn't get to eat at that restaurant, but I took the subway, their subway there, like 3 stops, I think, away from where we were staying. But I don't know where I was. So, because
that's so brave. I mean, I get nervous if I think I have to take like a subway in New York or San Francisco or something.
Well, subways in Europe are so much nicer. They're very clean. There's no rats. I've never seen a rat on one like you do in New York. I've never seen anybody too seedy on the trains. Now, if you think that was brave, then you should have been on the train with me when I went to restaurant I did get into, which is a vegan restaurant. That was 5 stops away from where we were staying. Again, I don't know where I was, but I started I used my walking app to make sure I could get directions to it. And it had me go down this thing. And I'm like, if I were in the States, I would never go down this pathway. It was pitch black. It was on the edge of a park. And I'm like, I don't even know if this is taking me to the restaurant. I don't even see the restaurant. I don't even know what's going on right now. And I'm like, wow. I would never have done that in the States. But I'm like, damn it, I want my vegan food. I'm fine in this place. Because at first I thought I could go around the block to get, like the entrance must be on the other side and they're just taking me this way because it's technically the fastest route. As I was trying to go around the block, the app just kept saying basically turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. And I'm like, I don't want to go the way you're telling me to go. But then I'm like, I don't know where I am. I don't want to get lost here. So so I turned around and I went back and followed the app. And sure enough, at the end of this pitch black path was my restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm really glad I braved through it because it was really good food.
So there were no lights or
Nothing.
anything?
It was pitch black. No, not a light. No.
And that's all that was at the end of the alley was the
No.
restaurant?
So at the end of this path, it had the restaurant. It looked like there was a second restaurant. And then like I said, if my stupid app would have let me just go around the block, there was because that's how I left. I'm like, I am not going back that same way.
Okay. I get it now. Yeah.
I'm going out this way. And it was a little bit better lit. I still don't know if I had gone around the block, if I would have been like, oh, okay, you want me to go through this random gate because you can't see the restaurant from that side either. So it's kind of like in I don't know if there was an apartment building or not huge, but like a little apartment building in front of it or whatever. But even from, the way I left, if I was on the street, you wouldn't be able to see the restaurant. And I don't know if I would have trusted the app to say, you really want me to go through this gate? You know what I mean? Like, where am I? Like, where is this taking me?
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I braved through. The food was fantastic. My waiter was awesome. It wasn't busy, so it was just a lovely, lovely little dinner. So, anywho.
You are brave. A gutsy broad.
I'm a gutsy broad. But yeah, we took a day trip to Bamberg. Bamberg is very cute. That's a very small city. The market was small, but it was still fun to walk through it. And they are known for smoked beer.
Oh, yeah.
So Auntie Bethy and her sister did not come with us that day. Unfortunately, she was under the weather. So Auntie Bethy and I went over to Bamberg and had a smoked beer, and it was delicious. Yes, that's what they're famous for.
So the smoky, is that like a smoky flavor you get like with meat too? Is it that kind of smoky flavor or
minus the meat? Yes.
Yeah.
It was
like
really
hickory or whatever that they use.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes. It was.
That'd be interesting.
It
to
was
try.
interesting. We weren't sure if we were going to like it. Auntie Bethy got a wheat version, and I got their original. And I really liked mine. I tasted hers. I think it was whichever one you tasted first is the one you were going to like.
Yeah.
Because your taste buds were already in tune with whatever you just took the first sip of. So I didn't like hers as much as mine. But again, I think if I had gotten the wheat beer, I probably would have liked it just fine. I didn't dislike it. I liked what I had ordered better. I think she felt the same about hers. So, and then we also went to Munich. And we went to the Hofbrauhaus and had a pretzel the size of my head. And a ginormous beer.
and did they serve mustard with that pretzel also? No?
Purists. No,
they just eat it plain, huh?
Plain.
Not even some butter.
Butter?
Yeah.
No deliciousness.
Big chunks of salt on it?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
And Hofbrauhaus was really hopping, I had to say. I only was there once before, many moons ago, and it was the week after Oktoberfest, and it was my friend, me, and some dude, and that was it. Nobody else was there. So it was good to see it hopping. Certainly not as hopping as Oktoberfest, but it was still pretty lively there. And they had a pop band going, and that was fun. And that market was really good. Munich had a nice size market to walk through. Of course, we got there right in time for noon, so we got to see the Glockenspiel go off. And they tuned it since the last time I was there. Auntie Bethy's sister looked it up because I was like, oh my God, this thing sounded so terrible back in 2005 when I was here. And she looked it up. She's like, well, you'll be happy to know it was tuned in 2007. And I was like, fantastic. She's like, and that was the first time in 100 years that it had finally gotten
Wow.
tuned. It's terrible when
Wow.
I saw. So it was a little bit better, but we were joking around with some guys that were standing there drinking their Glühwein. They're like, "This is German torture."
And Glühwein, for those who
Oh,
don't know, is
sorry. Glühwein is hot mulled wine.
okay.
Yes, and it's
I didn't know
delicious.
what it was either.
And you want to, if you go, now it depends. If you like super, super sweet things, then you want to get their punch. But if you don't like super sweet things, you want to get Rotglühwein, red Glühwein. And, or they have the white wine version too, but they
Mm.
also, they did not have this as the Vienna markets last year. They had it at all, I've only seen it at the German market so far, and it was a blueberry Glühwein.
Oh, yeah,
Heidelbeer,
that's
Heidelbeer, Heidelbeer Glühwein.
oh, that
And
sounds good.
that was really good. I really enjoyed that. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Good times. We had a good time. We were there for a week. We did the same thing for Vienna last year, just a week. I find that's plenty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a good taste of everything. And I will say, the Germans, I thank you very, very much, our German listeners. You, all your restaurants, I did not have any problems finding vegan food for myself at any restaurant, actual decent vegan food, not just a Beyond Burger or a slab of tofu. They actually made an effort and made it into things. I had tofu schnitzel. I had a cucumber and potato salad. I
Hmm.
had a wonderful vegan Vienna sausages, or not Vienna sausages, just sausages with sauerkraut on a roll. That was at the market itself. There was a booth that was catering to vegan food.
Wow. Wow.
I had potato pancakes. I mean, you name it. It was not hard for me to find the
Hmm.
food that I wanted. So it was nice. It was a nice variety. I was pleasantly surprised. I had a oyster mushroom burger at the very first place we went to, and it was delicious.
Wow. Wow.
Delicious. So
Well, that kind of made the trip all worthwhile, didn't it?
it really did. I mean, even the breakfast we had at the hotel every morning was like a buffet, and they had not a lot, but they did have some vegan things for me.
Hmm.
So, like I said, Germany by far, in all of my travels, has made the most effort that I've experienced for vegan
Huh.
foods.
Interesting.
Yes,
Well, thank you, Deutschland.
I tell you what.
And you made it there and back in one piece. Are
I
you all caught
did.
up with the time frame and stuff?
Yes, I think I am now back on track. It only took 2 days. I did go to sleep early last night. I could not stop yawning at like 7:30, and I'm like, all
Mm.
right, at least go lay in bed. And I didn't make it much past that. But I woke up at 3:30 because that's about 8 hours, and I'm like,
Mm.
you're not getting out of this bed. I'm really sorry. No. So I laid there and pet Killian and put on some crap TV, just something I didn't care about.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I did fall back to sleep, but probably not until after 4:30. But I got up, it was 6 o'clock, and I'm like, now you should be back to normal.
Wow. Wow.
Because right now it's after 6 o'clock. Like I've been yawning at this point, and I feel fine right now.
Mm.
So I got to make it until my 9 o'clock. I can do it, and I should be back to normal.
Well, how is Mr. Killian? Does he miss me
He
or?
misses his Auntie Joan, of course it. I told him he's going to see you on Friday. He's very excited.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yes,
good.
yes.
I
So
miss
yeah.
him too.
Well, good. Good. You guys will get to see each other. Poor Auntie Bethy didn't have a great experience coming home. She
Oh,
unfortunately,
no?
her flight from Nuremberg to Amsterdam, that was her connection, got canceled. So they had her route from Nuremberg to Paris, Paris to Amsterdam. Amsterdam was experiencing some really horrendous high winds or something.
Ugh.
Like her pilot circled once and then came in for landing. She said it was pretty scary.
Oh, my
Um,
gosh.
so her flight from Amsterdam back home was canceled. So she had to spend the night in Amsterdam.
Oh,
The
wow.
airline had to put her up and all that stuff. So she's home. I got confirmation she is now home, safe and
Good,
sound,
good.
but she had basically an extra day of travel that wasn't anticipated. So I feel bad. I hate to say it. I mean, I like to say it, but I hate to hear. I hate that Auntie Bethy's going to listen to this, and all my travel was very smooth. So
Well,
knock
good
on
for
wood.
you. I'm
Knock on wood.
sorry, Auntie Bethy, that,
Yeah.
things kind of got a little crazy.
Yeah. And I got to hear the stories because her Auntie Bethy's sister flew separately, and she said that she would never fly Air France again. So I
Hmm.
don't know the story behind it. I don't know what happened there, but I'll get that detail. So something didn't go well with her,
Ah,
but I don't know
ah,
what. She made it home on the day she was supposed to, but so I don't know what she meant by that. I don't know if it was just a. I don't know. I'll get more information, but.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so now tell me about your previous Christmases, your past Christmases. I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
It actually started Thanksgiving of, I believe it was 1974.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in White Plains, New York by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long story, but I had moved out there and was cohabitating with this guy. And back
Hussy.
in 1974, it wasn't nearly as frequently done as it is today.
You're always a
So,
rebel.
uh, well, so for the whole time I was living with him, I never told my parents.
Oh my.
Yeah, and when the phone would
Scandalous.
ring, when the phone would ring, it was like, "Oh, who's going to answer it, and what are we going to say?" And I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, it didn't work out. I ended up getting my own little apartment in White Plains, $300 a month. Okay, so this guy that I had been living with, who, I mean, he really was kind of an asshole, to be
Oh.
honest. My dating bucket seems to all revolve around work. So I had met him at work also. So I had to keep in contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him right before Thanksgiving, and he was talking about how, oh, he had so and so invited him for Thanksgiving, and so invited him for Thanksgiving. And I mean, he had like three or four invitations for Thanksgiving. And now, granted, this was his where he originated from. I moved in there from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was a newbie there. I didn't know anybody. But anyway, he had all these invitations and I had zero.
Hmm.
And I woke up Thanksgiving and it just really hit me. And I started crying and oh my God, if he got those invitations for Thanksgiving and I didn't get any, what kind of horrible person must I be?
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the phone rings and it's my mother.
Mm-hmm.
They lived in Wisconsin. So she calls and says, "Oh, how are you?" And I had just been crying. So I said, "Oh, I'm fine." And she says, "Well, you sound funny. Are you okay?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I just getting a cold." And we
Hmm.
talked for a little bit and hung up. And she must have picked up on something. And she called back a couple hours later and she said, "Well, I just talked to your dad." And because I had said I wouldn't be able to come out for Christmas because I couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, "Well, I just talked to your dad and we'd pay for your ticket to come out for Christmas."
Aw.
So I did. And that Christmas was the best Christmas I ever had. And
Aw.
because of that, because it was so special. And I mean, there weren't a lot of gifts or anything like that. My mother made a couple little dried flower things that she framed. And
Aw.
oh, there were a couple other little things that she made for me. But it was just, I was there, I was with my family, and it just meant so much to me. And yeah, that goes down as like the best Christmas ever, ever. So
Oh, that's very
yeah,
sweet.
yeah. And now I can see my nose is getting a little red because I'm getting kind of
Oh.
teary-eyed talking about it. But
Oh.
so you got any special ones?
Um, gosh. I had stopped going back to Connecticut many years ago because the travel is just a nightmare at
Yeah.
Christmas time. But I do remember going back and, when my niece and nephew were really young and,
Yeah. Yeah.
that always makes it fun when they're young and silly. And I wish I didn't stay at their house though, so I didn't get to do any of the fun, silly
Oh,
Santa
yeah.
things,
Yeah.
to make them think that Santa was there and all that stuff. But it was still, seeing Christmas through their eyes was
Mhm.
adorable.
Yeah,
But
that I don't know, that innocence and that belief in this, no, not supernatural, but magical.
magical, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I, there was one Christmas too where my sister-in-law, she had said she liked Kenny G. So this was probably what, the 80s maybe? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not 80s, yeah. And so she got like a whole bunch of Kenny G CDs. And then my nephew, my sister-in-law had said he wanted the Milli Vanilli tape CD that was out.
Mm-hmm.
And he had opened all these gifts and there was no Milli Vanilli, no Milli Vanilli. And he hadn't opened, I got it for him for Christmas. So he started crying. He was so upset because there was no Milli Vanilli. And so finally he opened up the CD I got for him and he was saved.
Well,
But
good. Well, back then it would have been cassette. There was no CDs back then. CDs weren't until the 90s.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So he
glad
was
he got
thrilled.
his Milli Vanilli. Auntie Joan took care of him.
And I'm sure he still has it and listens to it
I'm sure
all
he
the
remembers
time.
that very fondly. I think that probably went down as one of his best Christmases.
I did like them too. I liked Millie Vanilli. I was so sad to
I
hear what they
know.
did.
I
Yes.
know. But, well, now they all do it, so.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah. So, yeah, the ghost of Christmas past
That goes to Christmas
brought
past.
some tender moments.
Well, that's sweet.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Now we're on to the part of our program where we discuss what we are watching. But because this is our Christmas episode, we are going to discuss 3 Christmas movies that are our favorites of all time each. So my 3 favorites, Auntie Joan's 3 favorites, and Auntie Joan's going to kick us
We
off with
probably
her
have some
faves.
overlapping.
What you got?
So the assignment
I'm guessing we do.
was our favorite Christmas movies. So for the last 2 weeks,
Yes.
I've been watching Christmas movies, and it has not it's not had the effect that one would think. But anyway, so I've narrowed it down. To me, the best Christmas movie.
So this is number one, your pinnacle.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, go ahead.
And I know it's your
Yes,
favorite
it
movie,
is.
period. Mhm.
It
Now,
is.
I'm basing this because based on some of the other movies I watched, because I like A Wonderful Life because it's not so sugar coated. You see kind of real life, people living real life, people making mistakes, people getting by, and it has a wonderful message at the end. I think this will go down as my favorite, best Christmas movie. Yeah.
I agree. And we'll just nip that in the
Yep.
bud. And
Yep.
that's my number one as well for all the
Mhm,
reasons we
mhm.
talked about in last episode and what you just described as well. It's just too good.
See, I
They
had
broke the
avoided
mold with
watching
that
that
one.
because I thought, oh, it's another, sweet movie, blah blah blah, and that's that. I've just gotten to be such a grumpy old woman that That's the last thing I want to see is sweetness and light and everybody happy and all that stuff. So when I watched it again, I looked at it, from a different point of view. And yes, it's excellent, excellent Christmas movie and excellent movie. And, you had mentioned
Agree.
the last time we discussed it that you thought that
Hmm.
because they were doing the Charleston, that the Charleston, yes, okay, they did
Yes.
some flashbacks. So the scene where they're doing the Charleston actually was have taken place in 1928. Yeah, yeah. So that was in a
Oh.
flashback scene when he saw Donna Reed again, and
Oh.
after yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Great Charleston Contest. That's what his brother said. It's time for the Great Charleston Contest or something like
And that was cute the way they did that too, because Donna Reed and Jimmy Stewart were just like, "Oh, we're so good, and look at people are watching us and applauding, and and then boom."
that. In the pool they go. But I thought that was also a pretty good engineering
Mhm.
idea that they implemented in that
Yeah,
school back
yeah.
way back then. Underneath the gym floor, they
Mhm,
installed a
mhm.
pool, and you had to pull
Yeah.
back the floor to get to the pool. I thought that was like
Mhm, mhm.
great use of space, great idea, and
Yep.
that was all the way back then. And what's interesting is you don't see it in schools today. Like my high school had a
Yeah,
pool,
yeah, yeah,
but it was a totally separate room from it's like I don't know why that didn't stick. I don't know if I
yeah.
don't know I don't know. But I
Mhm,
thought that was
mhm.
quite ingenious.
Okay,
All
now
right, what's
my
your next
next one
one?
is the 2019 version of A Christmas Carol. And that's the one I had discussed with you before.
Okay.
It has Guy Pearce, who's an
Yes.
Australian actor, Andy Serkis, who played
Mhm.
Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and I don't know who else is in it, but
Mhm.
oh,
Nandor.
yes,
Oh my god. That
yes,
was the whole reason you told
Nandor
me about
from
it.
The Things We Do in the Shadows. He's got maybe a 10,
Yes.
15 minute part in there. And he sounds just like he does as Nandor. He
Aw,
plays Alibaba,
so
who
adorable.
was a
So
invisible friend
adorable.
type of thing for Ebenezer when he was away at school. Now, the reason I like this version is because it is very
Mhm.
dark. Have you seen it?
Mhm.
It focuses on
No.
some different aspects. There's more of Bob Marley and Bob Marley.
So they
Yes,
were
that's why I
singing
liked
along to some
it.
reggae, were they?
Jacob Marley.
No woman, no cry.
Yeah, there Jacob Marley. There's a whole subplot about him
Yes.
and Bob Cratchit's wife. She gets a larger role in this also. But it gets
Mhm.
pretty gosh darn dark, and it deals with a lot of things that they never would have
Mm.
discussed back in the 40s, the 50s, or the 60s. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty good, pretty good.
Mhm.
I liked it. And now this one is not
Nice.
necessarily my favorite. I would said it would have been at one time,
Okay.
but after I rewatched it, I had a lot of questions about it. When you see it from the
Okay.
2024 mindset, you kind of wonder
Lens.
what were people
Mhm.
thinking when they did this movie. And that is the original Miracle on 34th Street. Have you seen it this year?
Okay.
And
Oh
it
yeah.
doesn't
Oh, oh
bother
yeah.
you when you watch this that the little girl, the mother comes home from work at Macy's, after setting up the whole Thanksgiving Day parade. She comes home and she says, "Well, where's Susan?" "Oh, she's over at that man's apartment across the hall watching the parade." So her little girl goes over to
Mhm.
this strange man's apartment to watch a parade. And I had to rewatch that again, that part of it again today, because I thought, well, maybe they were just kind of playing like they didn't really know each other. Uh-uh. Nope. Nope. Susan's mother did not know him. He did not know.
Well, what I found creepy about that scene, not, I mean, it was weird that, yes, they let the little girl go over to a strange man's apartment, but that they,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
could see into his apartment
Yes.
very clearly from where I'm like, how is this
Uh-huh.
apartment complex set up where you can see directly into somebody else's apartment? And that's the part that I was like, it's more like they were the peeping tom.
Yeah,
Like
it
I don't
was
know,
it
it
was
was
now I
weird.
didn't even think of it that way yet
It
until
was a little
you
weird.
just mentioned it. But that is I lived in an apartment building that had like a courtyard in the center. So the building was actually a
Mm-hmm.
square, but the inside, the core
Square.
was out,
Yeah.
so you could, look at the apartment buildings across, but not that close,
Mm-hmm.
not that close. And then,
Right.
and then come to find out
Yeah.
that not only was this little Susan at this strange man's apartment watching the parade, but the day before he had taken her
Mm-hmm.
to the zoo.
Yeah. But was the
No,
housekeeper with
I
them?
didn't catch that.
Okay. I don't know. I was just
No, I think the
I
housekeeper
don't
had plenty of
remember.
work to do at home. That huge turkey they made too for Thanksgiving, that blew
I
for two
know.
people.
We have such an awfully big turkey. It's like, did I ask all right?
Yeah, that was creepy too. And then here's I don't remember what his name is, but the guy, he's this lawyer, and obviously, he's probably a very
Yes.
successful lawyer. He's living in this
Hmm.
in this one bedroom apartment with twin beds.
Yep.
It would have been more
That was a
weird, I
little
guess,
weird.
if he had a full size bed when he invited Santa to come and stay with him.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
What the hell is wrong with me? I just take this beautiful movie and just twist it into this nasty thing. So then I
Mhm.
watched
Mhm.
the updated version for comparison. I know, I know. You know how when we talked about
Ew.
it before, I said that one of the reasons I didn't like it is because the house that the little girl had dreamed of was this huge mansion that, you know, well, when I watched it again, it wasn't
Mhm.
really a huge mansion. And I'm thinking, then I saw someplace that mansion was up for sale. This was several years ago. So then I think we've just
Mhm.
seen that what people are living in these days has gotten so much bigger and so much more, I don't know, that it makes that mansion from back when that movie was made, the second movie was made, look like it's just a Cape Cod now. Because we've got all these McMansions that we're
Mhm.
so used to seeing that, you know,
Not my house.
nor mine. So anyway, so that one. Now, I will say that, okay, that Miracle on 34th is not one of my favorites anymore. I did watch Scrooged and I really like that. And I do like Elf, and I
So
did watch
good.
this is sad. And I watched A Christmas Story and I couldn't watch it all the way through because it just got too much for me. So that's it. How about you,
Huh.
Auntie?
Okay. Well, as we already discussed, number one for
Hmm.
me is It's a
Number two.
Wonderful Life. Number two is Elf.
Yeah.
For sure. Hands down. The whole premise of it and the way Will Ferrell plays it is just so endearing. And every year I just fall in love with it all over again. And oh my God, I'll never forget in the movie theater seeing it for the first time and seeing Will Ferrell sit in the corner of his father's office on a pig stool reading Pygmalion, and I was laughing so hard. I couldn't breathe. My friend really thought I was gonna die because and I was the only one laughing. It was just so. I'm like, why is he sitting on a pig chair? I don't understand. It was just so an odd point in the movie, and I could not stop laughing. And
It
it's
is.
just so well done. It's a lot of,
Hmm.
childlike wonderment
Yeah,
throughout
yeah.
the whole thing. And, it just makes you want to believe all over again. And it's just, I could have done without, oh,
Oh,
goodness.
James Caan.
His father. Thank you. I don't love him. So I could have done without him in the movie. I think somebody else would have been just fine in it. I don't know why they picked Michael Corleone to be in this movie. He didn't do a bad job. He's just not my favorite
Yeah.
actor. So meh.
Hmm.
But Ed
Hmm.
Asner, perfect. Perfect. Just perfect. And the little kid from A Christmas Story was
Was
one of
he?
the elves as an adult. Mhm. Yes.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
yes, Ralphie as an
I love.
adult. Yes, he was the one that asked him did if Will Ferrell made his quota. And when he didn't, he made him go do the what are those things called where they wind him up and it pops up.
Yeah, Jack in the
Pop,
Box.
Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box things. Tester. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he does. Will
that's
Ferrell does
Ralphie.
such a good job of
But
that wonderment and yeah.
oh, I love when he first gets to New York and he's hopping along. So I watched the making of. It was one of those Netflix special things. And when he ran up to that person, it was like Santa, Santa. And it was an old guy in a red jogging suit. That was not planned. That dude really just walked down the street, and Will Ferrell just ran up to him and did that, and they recorded it. So that's pretty funny. I love when he goes around and around on oh God, well, I'm losing my words. See, cocktail. Oh my gosh, the
Oh,
doors the revolving door.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just going around and around and around, and he throws up, then he goes around and around it again because he was just having so much fun. Just adorable. God, I love that movie so much. I just thought that not only was the story really good, that he did an excellent
Hmm.
job
Hmm.
as as the main character in it. I can't imagine anybody else in it. And then you have Bob Newhart,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
just, oh,
yeah.
Bob Newhart,
Yeah, yeah.
as his papa. It's
And Will
so
Ferrell sitting on
freaking
his
cute.
lap.
Oh, I can't even. The ginormous toilets, just everything is just so good about it. I can't stand it. So, yes, that is definitely my second
The only
favorite
one who could
Christmas
have done
movie
that
of
at
all
least as
time.
well is Robin Williams was probably the only one who could have played that wonderment and,
Yes.
that magical mystery thing like
Yes.
Wolf. Yeah. Yeah.
He just
Oh,
would have
yeah,
been a little
very
bit more
much so.
hyperactive in it,
Yeah.
whereas Will Ferrell is a little bit more subdued, but yeah, but I agree. Robin
Yeah,
Williams
but
was
I don't
one of a
think
kind
anybody
as
could have
well, and he
played that
could.
like, yeah, Will Ferrell was the perfect choice for that. Yeah.
He really was. He really was. And then number
Hard.
three for
I've
me
not
was
seen that
hard,
one.
actually. Ah, no. It was I had a tough time with this one because I
Mm.
want to say Miracle on 34th Street because I do love it and it has been a staple for me for many, 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 many all
Yeah,
my
yeah.
life, every year. However, if I really sat down and thought about it, which I did, it's gonna antithesis of what you said, but
Oh,
it's a
oh.
Christmas story. I do love that movie. I know it by heart. I got my dad the leg
Did
lamp for
you?
Christmas one year in the crate that said Fragile on it, the whole shebang. Yep, and he put it in the front picture
Oh,
window
wow.
every year. Yeah, my brother has that now. So yeah, I just love that movie. I certainly
Oh,
was before my
definitely.
time, for from the year it took place, but I could totally relate to. I don't think kids can now. I think my dad was really upset when my niece and nephew didn't take to it. And I'm like, they don't know any of these references. They cannot. I mean, Did I ever use or was around
Mm,
Simonize?
mm,
No, but I know what it
mm.
is. You know what I mean? And it was a different time, but I was close, because my parents grew up in that era, so I knew
Yeah,
quite a bit
yeah,
about that era, you know. So my niece
yeah.
and nephew, of
Uh,
course, so many generations removed, had no real affection for the movie, but I really did, and I could pretty much recite it by heart. I love it. Same with Elf. Nobody enjoys watching Elf with me because I'm constantly saying the words. Um, I can't help it. I just know it so well. I just can't. It comes out. Yeah, I like the story of it. I mean, the
mhm,
BB gun
mhm.
I could care less about. I mean, that didn't really do anything for me, but just, him helping his father change a tire and him saying fuck in front of his dad for the first time. But I didn't say fudge. I said the mother.
Yeah, see, I just wasn't in the mood,
So
I think, to
cute.
watch that because it is a good movie for sure. And when they lick the
Yeah.
flagpole,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, it's stuck. Stuck, 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 stuck,
I
stuck.
actually did that. My folks used to
So
have
fun.
metal aluminum ice cube trays. And I remember one time taking one out and
Uh-oh.
putting my tongue on it and having my tongue freeze to it. Yeah.
It got
Yeah.
stuck.
No, no,
So did
no.
they have to call the fire department? Okay, well that's good.
And here's something else about that. You know the scene
Uh,
where their turkey gets taken out by the dogs and stuff, and they end up
Bumpuses.
going to the Chinese restaurant for dinner. I thought that was just, kind
Yes.
of silly and made up. Well, no,
Well, the
but
whole movie was
I thought
silly.
why would they have them going to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas?
Because that's
Right.
all that was open. So back then,
Yeah.
that's all that
Well,
was
one of
open.
my stepson's wife is Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
and they happened to
Mm-hmm.
they would go to
They would go to
Chinese
Chinese
restaurant, and
food.
when I found now I was like 60
Yeah.
some years old when I found this out, and that blew my mind that Jewish people
Mm,
actually did go to Chinese restaurants at Christmas.
yeah. Yeah. And they used to be the only ones that would go like to the
Really?
movies on Christmas. I mean, now
Yeah.
no, sometimes they
Yeah,
do
yeah.
premieres on Christmas, so people go. But back in the day, you would find that Jewish people would be in the movie theaters because they celebrate Christmas, so
There is a
it was the
big
best time for them to go.
premiere
Nobody was
coming
there.
out this Christmas that I don't know, maybe we might want to look into seeing. It really in the Christmas spirit. Nosferatu. I think it was the
I don't know
original.
what that is.
It's a remake of the original Dracula.
Oh, for Christmas? They didn't want to release this at Halloween? I hate Hollywood so much. They are so bad at this. They are so bad at this. They do it all the time. I'm like, God, it's
Yeah,
not
you
that
would
hard,
think.
guys. I don't know, but
Maybe they're counting on a lot
sure.
of people like me, huh? In the Christmas spirit.
Oh no,
Yeah, yeah.
in the Christmas spirit. The decision was difficult until I really thought about like. So yes, I watch Miracle
Hmm.
on 34th Street every year, but and I watch the whole thing and I enjoy it, but I laugh at A Christmas Story. I laugh ridiculously at Elf.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? So I do those really should be my but I will tell you what came in as a dark horse in the running for me
Huh.
was The Man Who Invented Christmas because I do think that is a very creative. Well, I mean, it was a story of Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
You watched it. We watched it
oh.
last year
I think I'll
together.
watch it again.
It's really, really good and really well done. It's lighthearted, but it's got
Ooh.
dark elements to it. He's basically writing it and the characters are coming to
Oh.
life. So that's how apparently that's how
Huh.
Charles Dickens worked. I mean, who knows if it's true, but how he, would try and think of a character's name. He would meet people and he would write down like Jacob Marley was derived from a waiter at this men's club that he would go to.
That
His
does
last name was
sound familiar.
Marley.
Yeah.
He would bring in the people in his life would become the characters in his book. Like I don't know if it was like his manager or whatever, ended up being the Ghost of Christmas present. The big jolly guy, that, had all the abundance around him and all that. And trying to describe that to an illustrator as you're talking about a ghost who's joyful and has abundance. And, this guy was a very well-known artist that Charles Dickens ended up hiring because he wanted the artwork to look a certain way. And it was just, I really like how it was done. And how he would say, when he finally came up with Scrooge, the character appeared in front of him. And he was actually having a conversation with him, and they were putting the story together. And then he had a servant in his house, Irish young woman, and she had been taught to read by her mother, which was back then was unheard of. And so he had her read some of his early pages and give feedback. And she kind of, again, who knows if this is all true, but gave him the perspective that, because his original story, Tiny Tim was going to die. And she's like, you can't make him die. She was really pleading with him. She's like, he should be hope and, and blah, blah, blah. And so he changed the story based on her feedback and, things like that. So it was I just thought it was really well done. Talked about his backstory a little bit, about how his father was an eccentric and didn't have any money and was kind of like a shyster. How his father, taken away to prison or whatever. And he had to go work at I forgot what they called it, but it was like a workhouse in London back in the day. And it brought forth how Charles Dickens thought of people with less than. And again, I don't know if this story is 100% true, but I would like it to be true. When he was writing the book, his publishers were like, you really want to write about Christmas? It's just another day for somebody to take off and get paid or something like that. It's because Christmas was kind of becoming passe almost at that point. And his book reinvigorated donations at Christmas time, helping the unfortunate, just goodwill across. And that's what I love about Christmas. The religious stuff, we all know I'm not into that, but I'm very into just being just a little bit nicer, just doing something nice for people and giving somebody a donation that needs it, or a group that needs it, whatever, or donating your time to a soup kitchen, or handing out food at a food bank, or getting gifts for children that are less fortunate, through your community and things like that. That's Christmas to me.
I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, so that was a dark horse in the running. I almost said it, and I was like, oh, I can't put a Christmas story to bed. It's got to be.
Well, I'm definitely going to watch that. The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yes.
Again, I'll watch it again.
So good. So good. It is in my rotation. It came out 4 years ago, 5 years ago at most. Really, really good.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Now we're on to the part of our program where we discuss commercials we have to talk about. And again, because it's Christmas time, we are going to talk about commercials that we found exceptional for the Christmas season. Not necessarily this year, but just exceptional commercials. So I saw a new commercial this year called Target, Born to be Chris. And they've got this good-looking guy, all buffed up, portraying Santa, and he's driving around in his Ford Bronco as his sleigh, his red Ford Bronco, and he's going to Target. I don't know if you perused any of the comments that were made on the YouTube link. Well, let me fill you in on a couple. Easily the worst Christmas ad so far. Sleigh, tag on the Bronco. Wow, what agency mind came up with that?
Oh my goodness.
That was Mr. Gordon Gartrell. Then John Bohr 245 said, I love Christmas and this commercial makes me want to stop celebrating it.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I know somebody oh God. Rat-a-tat tat nat 100 just wrote hate it exclamation point exclamation
Hmm. Well, what did you think of it?
I actually don't find him all that attractive. I mean, he's got a
Really?
nice body and all, but it's just not, he's not my thing. But I thought it was a cute little commercial. I'm not as offended by it, but I just happened to glance, and I usually don't read the reviews, but I happened to glance down. I was like, oh, people don't like this. It's like, okay. Now that's not, I mean, some people did like it, like weirdly hot. Now I want a Bronco like that, but fell over with the price. Target is slaying with the commercials, the pure imagination one, and now this.
Hmm.
Can I kidnap Santa? After all, I've been really good this year. So they're not all bad. I wasn't expecting to see any bad because
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
offended me by it, you know.
Hmm.
But I was surprised to see. So one of them said something about, oh, so Santa must be on Ozempic. People are funny.
They are.
They
They
really
really
are
are.
very
Now, when
creative.
I watched that
Mm-hmm.
commercial, when it got to the end and you got to see his face,
Mm-hmm.
as it was ending, I thought, is that Jason Momoa?
Oh, like with a
Yeah.
haircut?
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Oh.
had to play that part again. And no, he
Oh.
doesn't have that bald spot on his eyebrow.
Right.
So it wasn't him. But
I
yeah.
too thought maybe it was somebody that was playing somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
but no, apparently it's just some dude.
Mm. Some random dude, huh?
Chris K. Very funny. Very funny. Very silly little commercial. I liked it. It just what bothered me about him, it's not that his face isn't good, it's his hair. It's got a
Oh,
bouffant thing going on in the front
oh,
that just And then throwbacks to a couple of commercials we've talked about previously that were Christmas related. Of course, Grandma's Magic Pine Cone Coca-Cola commercial.
yeah. I'm surprised. Okay,
Got to
you
give
wanted
that
to keep it.
props.
Yes, yes.
And then the John Travolta
Oh, yeah, that's
Capital
right.
One commercial. That's really good too. So it's him as Santa, which I again never knew until somebody told me, it's John Travolta. And I'm like, what?
Well, he does look a lot different than Vinnie Barbarino,
He
that's for
sure
sure.
does. And you, Auntie Joan, what's your commercial?
Well, when I look for Christmas commercials that kind of touch me, it's the ones that are touching.
Did they have
Um,
permission to touch you?
Either they certainly do.
Okay. You gave consent? Okay.
Yeah, 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 them, yeah. So, so I had to use the Google machine because these days, with the streaming and all that stuff, I don't
Mm-hmm.
see that many commercials.
Right.
So I went on the Google machine and Googled Christmas commercials and such. And I'm shocked that Amazon has really come out with some touching Christmas commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that caught my eye first was the one of the three older gals sitting on the park bench watching these kids sledding down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them gets this brainstorm to get them all something special for Christmas. And she gets them these seat cushions. And then they get their little sleds, and then the three of them go sledding down the hill. And all that's playing to the song. What's the song?
It's the Gilmore Girls opening song, but I don't remember. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. It's what I like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, so it's that song.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, the one that they have today is the custodian at the theater,
Theater for all us
sweeping
regular people.
sweeping up the stage and stuff. And while he's doing all the custodial work, he's singing to himself and stuff. And then the people the ushers and stuff that work there managed to arrange it so he gets the lights and the music, and he's able to sing on stage, as a solo performer with his ushers
Mm-hmm.
and other staff as his audience. So those are pretty touching. I like the
Yes,
Christmas commercials that touch my heart.
that's right. Very fun. That is a
Yeah.
good commercial. I did enjoy the three older gals.
Mm-hmm. Women of a particular age.
Yes, because as they're sledding down the hill, they do a flashback to them
Yeah.
as young girls
Yeah.
doing the same
Yeah.
thing. It was very sweet. We used to
I
sled
find
ride
my
down my front lawn at my parents' house. We were the sled riding
Oh yeah.
hill. Hmm.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
came to our house. One year we had, because it had snowed so much that there was big piles at the end of the driveway, and
Oh boy.
we were supposed to be angled. The dads were angling us kids on our sleds to avoid the big,
Hmm.
big snow mounds. And myself and I think it was a neighbor friend of mine, they didn't angle us quite right. And we went over it and landed in the road. One of us landed outside of the sled. I don't remember if it was her or me, but yeah, there was a
You
little,
didn't get hurt though, did
little,
you?
little teary after that one.
Oh,
Well, we were kids, but
but
no,
not
no,
hospital worthy.
no, nobody got hurt like that. No, no.
Hmm.
Yep,
Yeah,
fun,
good times.
good
Good
times.
times.
All right, Auntie Joan. Anything else on this Christmas episode for our listener this week?
I just hope everyone has a happy, wonderful holiday and enjoy the spirit of the season.
Indeed. Merry Christmas and happy holiday to our listener. And we wish you all a joyous season.
Merry Christmas to you.
Well, that wraps it for yet another wonderful Pickled Watermelon Rinds episode. This is Auntie signing off.
And Auntie Joan saying bye bye now.
We thank you for listening. And remember, when life eats away at your core, grab a glass of holiday cheer and make pickled watermelon rinds. Auntie Joan and Auntie wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season.